we good to start? All right. Good morning. I'm Annie Utes with Polk County Behavioral Health and Disability Services. So we developed this budget in September when the MHDS world looked different. So at that time, we were planning to apply for 2 RFPs. We submitted the budget on our current FY25 expenses. And then during this time from submission to today, we've learned a lot, that some current services we fund would no longer be funded by the new district. We then learned that we were not awarded the Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organization RFP. So the numbers in the PowerPoint for Fund 10 will be totally different than what we actually need to project. So we are currently in the RFP process for the Disability Access Point, and depending on the outcome of that award, our budget for Fund 10 will change again. We have to submit a budget for Fund 10 in anticipation that we are awarded the Disability Access Point. We would then need to amend the whole fund at the first quarter estimate once we know the scope of work and the contracted dollars from Iowa HHS. So we have no decision packages being requested. In September, we estimated that our revenue is at $26.3 million. For that, we had Fund 1, which is our PBS, Positive Behavior Supports, revenue from our providers. Fund 2 is our substance use treatment prevention sobering, which we will receive $625,000 from the city of Des Moines. And Fund 10, am I on the wrong slide? No. Sorry, I was just making sure I had the right slide up. Where's previous? There we go. Fund 10, we anticipated $21 million, and Fund 35, which is opioid settlement funds, $4.6 million for our revenue. Our estimated expenses are projected at $20.9 million, with Fund 1, with the Positive Behavior Support Network of $40,000. Our substance uses at $1.7 million, which includes the Life Services Center. Also in Fund 2 is the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for $240,000. And then the MHDS region, Fund 10, it had expenses of $16 million due to taking out the long-term services and supports expenses that were taken out of the RFP. And Fund 35, the opioid fund, for $2.9 million. Our current FTEs is myself, a CJCC coordinator, an opioid settlement fund program planner, 8 staff who are for the MHDS region, 1.5 FTEs for our mental health advocate. We have 3 vacant positions, 1 due to a retirement in our MHDS region, and 2, it had been approved for 2 pretrial release positions that were never filled, and we didn't take on that program, but those are still with us. And then we also fund 2 auditor's office staff from the MHDS budget for the region's services. So this decrease in revenue is due to comparing our FY26 budget to the FY25 Q1 amendment. So the FY25 amendment included the incentive fund application request, which will not be available in FY26. So these numbers really don't mean a lot, except that we're receiving half the cost of the Life Services Center from the city of Des Moines, which is up to $625,000. Again, this is compared to our FY25 Q1 amendment. So our increases is $172,000 due to a full year of Life Services Center expenses, an increase of $88,000 for our personal services, $14,000 increase, which was due to giving a provider who operates our information and referral line an increase due to volume. And then our expenses decreased $19.2 million. This was due to moving the costs out that the state has realigned that we won't have, along with the incentive fund. We did not get $8 million to provide CFR funding for the treatment services. We're down $961,000 in opioid settlement funds due to a strategic plan strategies for FY26. Down $194,000 for mental health institute expenses due to decreased utilization, and down $51,000 in administrative expenses since we've had the 1 position being held open since the retirement took place.
Annie,
yes.
Back to the opioid expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
How much is left in that account?
No. Around $8 million. Any other questions so far? Okay. So for our recent accomplishments, we added core MHDS services and expanded core services with intensive residential services, homes, outpatient competency restoration, skills training, and day habilitation. We were awarded incentive funds to continue services to individuals with intellectual and other developmental disabilities. The Life Services Center was opened this year. We implemented a non-custodial court order examination program with Broadlands in the 5th Judicial District. The CJCC implemented 2 subcommittees to continue improving justice-involved services, and we awarded $600,000 in grants from the Opioid Settlement Fund to local providers. We have responded to the Iowa HHS Disability Access Point RFP and currently waiting for the award to be announced. As we are waiting, we continue to monitor our expense budget, including the incentive funds and reporting on those. Earlier today, the CJCC jail dashboard was shared at the CJCC meeting, and it will be publicly published soon, hopefully at the end of this week, but if not, very soon. And over the next 6 months, we are working on implementing a pre-arrest diversion program with opioid settlement funds, with more information to come on that project. I have in your packet included a more up-to-date financial picture based on just the Disability Access Point RFP, if we should be awarded that. Again, these are all projections based on that, and the award will come out no later than February 21st. If we are awarded, we will need to move very quickly in order to get everything up and going, because it all starts on July 1. We have a very solid plan in place to make it happen, but again, it's a very, very short time frame to hire staff and get that contract up and going. That's all I got.
And Annie, the date that the department published for announcement is February
21st.
21st, okay. So between February 21 and July 1.
We have to have
This is
everything.
the plan, and so everything shaded in blue would be on this operational chart, flow chart. This would be the positions you would need to be filling and hiring for and
Yes.
adding, okay.
That is if this is the plan, like if we are awarded and if the state likes how we laid it out, they always have say in how we do it.
Sure.
So this is our proposal to them.
Okay,
But this is the same district. The district won't change, right? We're
This
still
would,
in District 5.
this would be statewide.
This would be statewide, that's right.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's a big thing.
Mhm.
It's a big thing.
In a short time frame.
Yeah,
We have a plan. I believe we can execute it, and we will have it ready to go July 1.
So is this the budget upon getting it, or if you get it, then do they get to have control over the budget as well?
They will have control. So this, the one that's blue with a green line at the top. This one. Do you have that?
we do, yeah, ours isn't colored.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
That's fine, yeah.
So they gave, in the RFP, they gave a specific dollar amount that they believe will be the right dollar amount to provide the services. But they said it's subject to change. So we went off that dollar amount and developed our organizational chart and our budget based on that. And so this reflects what was in the RFP. The other interesting thing is in the RFP, they stated that the services that we listed under expenses, they listed as services we would need to pay for. But in the behavioral health ASO RFP, they also listed stuff that we would need to pay for, and now the state will be paying for all of that. So it may be that those services will be funded by the state, and that they will only fund the administration and the navigators. So it's kind of all, yeah. So we really don't know.
Right now, and your budget is kind of like gonna be the last one to maybe come in and be settled.
It will be settled at the Q1 amendment next year, that's when we can make the change. I had to look at Deb to make sure that was accurate, and she said yes. So So we have to submit a budget, and then we will fix it all once we know exactly how much money we get.
Annie, what will happen to the opioid settlement dollars that were awarded to Polk County under this new regime?
They have nothing to do with this.
I didn't think so.
So that is its own set of money. Gabby, who is here today,
Yep.
she is paid out of that fund.
Yep.
So that has nothing to do with the region.
Okay. And,
God.
so that will be, those dollars will be under the direction of the Board of Supervisors regardless going forward?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, so Fund 2 and Fund 35 are both under your direction completely. It's the Fund 10 that is up in the air, but that is the majority of our budget.
And the position that we added, the advocacy,
The mental health advocate?
yes, that position stays with us no matter what going forward.
So how that works is that the County Board of Supervisors appoints the advocates, and then the region currently funds the advocate. That's how the law is written. The law changes so that on July 1, the district, or the Polk, what's it called? The Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organization, so Iowa Primary Care Association, they will be responsible for paying the county for that position.
Okay,
So we'll have to set up an invoicing for that.
okay.
They're also responsible for sheriff's transport fees and commitment costs, legal fees. And so all of that, they're still trying to figure out if the new Iowa Primary Care Association should just pay for those all directly, other than the advocate, and only have the county get reimbursed for the advocate. But that, again, is all up in the air. They're still discussing.
When will we know all about what the Iowa Primary Healthcare, whatever the hell they are, association is gonna do or not do with us? Contract or not contract?
So, last week, I think it was, we needed to submit all of our contracts. We had 89 documents that we submitted to the state. They then will take those documents, go through them, and determine which ones are for the behavioral health ASO, which ones are for the disability access point, and then which ones the state should take on. And then from there, they're gonna start reaching out to providers, is how I've understood it from town halls and from CEO meetings. They'll start reaching out to providers and doing contracts based on who is responsible for each of those.
Do you think they would be inclined at all to contract with us?
I have no idea. I have not had anyone reach out. I have reached out and they said they'd get back to me, and I have not heard back. We do have a meeting in February, all the CEOs with the state and with Iowa Primary Care Association.
Just my experience when I was in the legislature and we privatized services, one of the things that was really rough in transition was communication with the clients we were serving and people we were serving. And has there been any light shed on that process, on how people would be contacted? And I mean, we're talking about really vulnerable people, and like how to make sure they don't fall through the cracks.
The majority of the individuals will fall into the disability access point, and since it hasn't been awarded yet, there has been no conversations about how those transitions will take place. At the town hall meetings, they do say that contracts will continue for at least, they say 6 months to a year, so services will continue. The new draft rules that came out stated that they were gonna change these eligibility so that anyone that's above 200% of poverty no longer is eligible. We have people on the sliding fee scale that are above 200% of poverty. I believe there's 77 individuals. And at the town hall last week, they stated that they would be looking at director's exceptions. So at least I'm hoping that they will not lose services. So.
Wait and see game.
We're doing our best. Whenever we hear something new comes out, we pull our data, we try to figure out who we have and who's gonna be affected so that we know the numbers, and can start talking to their case managers and IHH workers about it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate everything you're doing during this difficult transition, and thanks for everything.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
All right. Very well.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mary Wells, Polk County Treasurer, presenting for the Treasurer's budget. So for fiscal year '26, we're looking at an additional estimated revenue of over 18 million, with our expenses being just over 9 million, with our staff remaining at 72. But as we go in a little further, when we talk about our decision packages, we are requesting an additional 692,000 along with another 5 FTE. Our estimated revenue on auto registrations, beginning January 1, we're able to receive an additional $10 in fees regarding our surrounding titling. So that's going to generate additional revenue for us. And that additional revenue is over from fiscal year '25. Those are the projections we have at 1.6 million. Our anticipated increase in interest earnings, we are going to be very conservative. Last year, we budgeted for 8.3 million, and we ended up around 11 million. With this market, we do not know, with this uncertainty, what we're going to do, so we're only going to increase by 670,000. That's just going to take us saying we're going to be about 9 million this year. We also, under tax collections and penalties, interest, fees, we estimate this being 181,000. We're just increasing this 25,000 over what we took in last year.
Have you seen, because you mentioned the market, have you looked at the numbers of title transfers like 2 years ago, last year, and this year, and what trends you're seeing?
For title transfers, well, at the change in the contiguous county, and now it's statewide where you can go anywhere, we are looking at that. The DOT has not, oh, excuse me.
I'm just meaning, have you looked at the numbers that your office has taken in? Not statewide, but just what you did 2 years ago, what you did 1 year ago, what you did this year.
Correct, that's what I'm saying to you. So there is a difference in contiguous county. So with contiguous county, we were, last year, we were able to take in other registrations from other counties along with our own. This year, it's statewide, and so projections are we're looking at what it's going to do. Toward the end of the year, we did start to lose some of our titles to some of the surrounding counties, so we are seeing a trend down in that. So we're hoping to gain some of that back this year with the cross-titling, as people really do not want to, when dealers are doing the title transfers, I don't want to go to Marion County if I am in Polk County to have my vehicle titled. So we're hoping customers will say they want to have their stuff titled in their own county, but there has been a downward trend in that.
Okay. Can you provide us with the numbers from the last, 3 years?
I can get those for you.
Awesome, thanks.
And so the next thing that we'll talk about after we talk about those fees is for our current budget. We're looking at 832. And so our COLA and merit increases, that is up, which it's going to go up every year. We do have an additional fee of 35,000 that we're asking for bank charges, credits, fees. And that is because of custodial fees that we have. We were under a contract with Bank of America, and for 20 years, they never increased their custodial fees. So last year, they started increasing their custodial fees, and so that we need to start paying that, and that's just understood. We are looking at a consultant contract that we're going to terminate, so we'll be able to take that out of the budget. We had our supervisor in cash management, or manager in cash management, leave, and so we needed her knowledge to transfer to our current supervisor. The titles changed from cash management to cash supervisor, so I struggled with that. So we needed her there to help us with that transition, and she's been helpful doing that, but her services will end in the fiscal year, so we won't need that full year of that contract. We do have some decision packages we want to talk to you about, and that's totaling over $696,000. When we're looking at the decision packages, we have one for postal increases. We have asked for increases every year for posties. As you know, USPS does increase postal, and they can increase up to 2 times a year. We've asked for increases around 9%, and we've constantly gone over that. So this year, we're asking for a 15% increase to make sure that we do not go outside of that budget. We are also asking for overtime and increase in staff. I do want to talk about our attrition in the Polk County Treasurer's Office. We have been having attrition issues since well before I got here, and it continues. We look at about a 30% attrition rate each year, and that 71% of that can be driven or looked at one position, and that position is our customer service assistant. It used to be called a universal cashier. Just hence the name universal cashier. People, when we're doing applicants, they think it's an easy job. You know, they think they're doing some money changing. Even though we go through the interviewing and tell them exactly what the job is, they get in there, and a lot of times within that first 6 months, they decide this is not the job for them. Or there's attendance issues, or they don't believe us when we tell them that we have to do mandatory overtime. So it's just not favorable for some people. So we've been working with Human Resources to try to mitigate what can we do to stop all this attrition from that position. And some of the things that we've done is we've come up with some pre-screening questions to let people know what these jobs are and what they're going to be getting into. And so if they don't pass those pre-screening questions, then they don't even get to go and apply for the position. So that's one thing we did. We also changed the job title. It was a universal cashier. Most people don't even know what that means. But when you say customer service assistant, they understand what that position is. And one of the questions are that you've had experience in front-facing and call center customer service experience at least 1 year. And so this last class that we just hired of 7, those individuals were underneath this pre-screening and additional questions. We did revamp the questions we're asking those individuals to find out that we're getting a better quality of candidate that come through in that pool so that we can do better hiring. So we won't know, these folks have only been here just a couple of months, and so we're hoping that we can get them past that 6 month and hopefully to a year and longer with that new changing. We've also done some questioning with the exit interviews and also talking with staff before they leave, asking them why they're leaving. And some of the questions are, some of the responses were, you know, I can work from home, or I can do a hybrid job. You know, our staff have to share their desks, and so that they don't really feel like it's theirs. So we're in a reconstruction, which I'll talk about in a little bit here, to help them have that everyone has a desk in the treasurer's office. So with that being said, we have to continually work overtime when we're short-staffed. Any given day in the treasurer's office, we're probably down 10 people. So we do have great benefits here, which means people have time off. And so we allow only 5 people off a day. But when you have 5 people off a day and you may have 5 people call out every day, I'm down 10 people every day. So to get people trained, it takes a good year. So this is why we're asking to continue with our overtime, and also for 5 more additional people, which will help us mitigate so that we can get people up and trained so that we won't have the daily downages of about 10 people a day. We serve about 1,000 to 1,200 people a day, and that's in person and on the phone. So we do need people to show up for work every day in the treasurer's office so we can support all the citizens that come in and see us. So a couple of the things that people have had issues with is attendance. So we have to have people there every day because it is a hard impact for other folks that have to pick up that slack to serve those customers. And we don't want our customers having to wait a long time to get in here to see us. So those are the reasons why we're needing the overtime and also the additional staff.
Mary, what does that represent, the overtime, 125,000, does it seem like a big number? In the past, hasn't it been higher?
It has been higher, but as we get people trained, then that we don't need as much overtime.
Okay.
And also, this is in addition to what we have. So we had more money coming out of COVID because we were doing so much and it wasn't open. So as we've dialed back from COVID, we've been able to dial back. We dialed back a little too far 2 years ago, but last year we increased it, and we're saying we need to continue to increase that.
Okay, and on a average, just so that I understand the job, like, if I'm a universal cashier, and I'm gonna continue to use that term even though you changed it, but if I'm a universal cashier, on average, how many hours of overtime would I be typically expected to work a month?
You'd be expected to work about 16 hours a month.
Okay,
We do 2 mandatory overtimes, and that's usually the first and the third Saturdays of the month.
okay,
And so if we are not far behind, then we cancel those overtimes when they're not needed.
so you anticipate less overtime if you're able to get the decision package with the 5 FTEs for universal cashier for that?
Later. So,
Later.
right, because we still have to
'Cause
get
they
them
gotta get
trained.
training,
Right,
okay.
and that's why we still need the overtime until we can get the folks trained. And it does take a good year for them to get to that point where they're gonna be productive enough to help.
And again, this is the Goldilocks theory, that 5, you believe 5 is gonna be just right as far as that number, because you've got 5 taking PTO and 5 calling out. The 5 additionals will get you into that sweet spot you're hoping, where you're not gonna have a lot of overtime, and you'll also have enough help to take care of that 1,200 customers a day.
I'm being conservative, I'd like 10, but I'm gonna ask for 5, so, yes. That's the goal. The goal is to try to get these folks trained up. I'm asking for the least amount that I could possibly need, knowing that we have budget crunches, and we need to try to maintain that. So we're doing our best to maintain and make sure we can serve, and I don't wanna ask for too much.
And on the exit interviews that you are doing, the feedback you're getting again is I found a job where I can work from home, or I want to do a hybrid, or this is a lot tougher job than I thought it would be, or this isn't what I dreamed it would be, and I want to do something else. Is that, I mean, is that primarily are those the causes?
That's the consensus, and you're always gonna have some personality issues in there. Some people just don't like the culture, they don't like doing the job. So there was one person that we hired, and she just, as soon as she got in the window, she's like, nope. And we spent all that time training that individual, and she had one bad customer come to the window, and she was done that day. She turned her badge in that day, so.
And the training is about 7 months then, or?
The training goes in the classroom is 2 months, and then after that, there's another 2 months where they're doing rotations, and then they're fed slowly more of the work so they can be more well-rounded. So it's about 6 months before they're trained, right before we can decide if you're good, if you're going to make it.
Okay. Big challenge.
Huge challenge.
And the only other question that I had, as you look at the culture of the office, is there any universal issues that you're identifying in terms of culture? Is it various management styles with the folks that these folks report to, that you're seeing more turnover with some managers and less with other managers based on how they manage? Or is it just filling a part of things? Or you said the desk thing, not having your own space.
I think not having your own space is a huge piece, that, you don't have your own. It's not been directed at one particular manager, because it's kind of hit or miss, where this manager lost 1 this time, this manager lost 2. So it's across the board where we're losing these individuals. We have worked with HR on interviewing and helping our folks look at behaviors during the interview process to try to weed out and try to determine if these would be a good fit for us. You're always gonna have some people that your personalities clash.
And then, did I see you up the skill sets that you wanted to hire in?
Yes.
With a little higher standard from an
Yes.
education and/or experience standpoint?
Yes, because again, when you look at universal cashier, people thinking they're doing money changing, and they really don't have to look at code, understand out of state, understand out of country. Not only are you doing the vehicle, but you're also doing property. So this is a very complex job that we have these individuals do, and to understand this within a year is good, and it doesn't really start making sense and clicking until about a year's time.
And help me understand, on appointments, all titles require appointments?
If you want to come in person, it requires an appointment. Otherwise, you can drop it off, you can mail it off, or you can put it in the drop box.
Okay,
So only if you want to come in here, that requires an appointment. You can drop it off and we'll still get that taken care of for them.
so what other types of services are you doing that don't require appointments on a daily basis?
All the services. So registrations don't require appointments. Nothing requires appointment in person except for the title.
Transfer, and
'Cause-
you can drop it off or put it in the drop box and,
So you don't have to do it that way. And we're changing our messaging and our marketing so people will understand you can drop it off and we will still get your title process for you and back out the door for you. If you want to see us in person, and then you'll have to make an appointment. Those take most of the time when they come into here, and those are the longer, more complicated appointments, those in our mobile home transfers. So that's why we want them to make an appointment, because sometimes, depending on the situation, if there's a death involved, it can almost be an hour.
and then will the contiguous counties require an appointment for the same services?
Those are titles, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mary, do you have any idea on how many titles or whatever we're losing on other counties?
Last year, we were averaging about, last month it was 556 titles that we lost in December.
That's significant.
It is.
And I suppose you have a handle on which counties those are?
Yes, Jasper County, we're going Jasper, Warren, Story is very little, and,
Madison,
nope,
Dallas?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Okay. So, do other counties have satellites? Or do they all go to the county treasurer?
County treasurer. And most of them require appointments for titles as well. And when dealers do their drops, we only allow dealers to drop a certain amount at a time, or come in and do deals, certain amount of deals per visit or per dealer number.
So, how much revenue did we lose for that, approximately, you think?
So if you're doing 556, it's times that times 1250.
Okay. That's significant.
It
That was
is.
just December.
That was just December.
So 556 times 12 times 1250.
No, 556 just in that month of December. Each month has been different, so that was a larger month.
So, do you
And
have?
that wasn't for the whole year.
Maybe I was unclear on my previous question. That was the information I'm looking for. So where we were at in those last 3 years, so we can see what kind of decline we might have been experiencing, or where the numbers are.
Sure.
Okay.
When did that start?
Contiguous County started last year,
Okay, I'm sorry.
and then this year went to cross-titling,
Cross what?
cross-state titling,
Oh, really?
right,
Cross state?
cross-state.
Oh, yeah.
That started January 1.
Wow.
Have you, I know we're only in the, second working day of February, but did you see much decline in?
We have not looked up, we don't have those numbers just yet,
Okay.
so this end of the month, so we're processing that now.
So when you say you serve between 1,000 and 1,200 people a day, that's not in person. That's whatever, that could be paying your registration online, that could be paying your property tax online, or that could be coming in the door for your title transfer.
No, ma'am, that's on the phones and in person.
Yeah,
So we
that's all of
set-
it. That's what,
No, but, so we do other stuff online. That's not including our online
Oh,
transactions.
gotcha. So this is on,
That's actually talking to a human,
info.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
So you're also managing tags and titles for other counties, right?
yes,
5 counties?
right. So that 556 that I gave you, that's our net. So that's saying the counties that we lost, but the counties that we took in as well. So that was the difference. So we're getting titles from other counties as well. So we're getting Dallas, we're getting Polk, or excuse me, Warren, we're getting those ones too. It's just a difference. So we may be losing some to them, they're losing some to us, difference. That 556 is what it settled out, that's the total we lost.
Okay.
And how much are we receiving for doing those 5 other counties that,
Same price.
Same
It's
price,
12,
okay.
you know, yeah, $12.50, it's $35 is what we charge for those title registrations, but we can keep $12.50.
okay. Okay. And on the 5 FTEs, you're estimating cost of 470,000 based on the 5 FTEs that we would be adding to the mix. That's all in, right?
That's all. Say that again, I'm sorry.
That's everything inclusive, the 470. So-
Yes.
So we've got
That-
about a
is that right, Deb?
we got a 6-month ramp up, but then once we hit that, assuming we haven't lost other employees, we should find that spot.
Right, and as we're losing people, it's not so much the dealers, it's the individuals. So it's people that feel like they can't get in here to get an appointment right away. So if I can't get an appointment at Polk County today, I'm going over to Dallas, or I'm going to the other place. So when I get my staff in here, so I can make sure I can get these people taken care of in a day or two, then that's what's gonna help us recoup that money.
I had one of those calls yesterday.
Yeah, I can't get an appointment for 3 weeks, so we tell them you can drop it off. But staff's gonna help us. I need bodies in that window so that we don't lose any money, and we can have those other people from the other counties come see us too.
So where are you gonna put all these people?
We are currently in, doing a reorg, because we have always, I don't know, shared desks. So right now, we're reorging in that back area so that we can build it out so that everyone can have a desk.
But there won't be extra frontage for people to interact with the, coming in person?
I'm gonna have you come down and take a look at our area. So there, we've got what we call the big room and then the back office. And so we're talking the desks in the back office. Right now, we have 19 windows for customers and dealers to come in and see us. So that won't change, except for we're asking to add one more ADA in that front area to support. But in the back office is where we want to. We've got some additional, not really additional space. We're being very creative to build out more cubes back there for individuals.
But for the customer to come back and work with the people back
No,
there?
no ma'am. They go in the front, in the 19 windows, yes.
Change the delay then, really, because there won't be more.
It'll change the
FaceTime.
people coming in, cause hopefully people will show up for work.
People will show up for work, and in the windows, we'll be able to put more people in the windows to serve the people that are coming in.
Windows will be full.
There you go.
Okay,
Yes.
so the windows aren't full right now?
Correct.
Do you like talk with your treasurers in other counties and what's going well, what's not going well? Like why reinvent the wheel? See what Dallas County is doing, see what Jasper County is doing. Do you ever meet with them?
We meet 5 times a year as a group of treasurers. We also have district meetings that we meet every month to talk with them, and then our deputies talk with each other on a regular basis, and I talk with treasurers almost every day. We all suffer the staffing issues. Most of their staffing issues is more on the salary side, and also that it's a complicated job. As some of the smaller counties, they don't, they look at Polk County and it's like, wow, you have that many employees come in here, but then when we say we have to serve 1,200 people a day, they're like, oh my God. Because they're only serving 12, 15 people a day, and so when you have a smaller one, they have a different issue. but staffing seems to be an issue across the state.
And I don't see the build-out on the decision package for cost. Is that a decision package for the board, or is?
For which one?
I think that's what Scott covered, wasn't it?
That's under general services probably.
I think
Yes,
Scott-
Okay, so it
Yes.
is under general, yeah, so we did see that,
yes.
yeah. Okay, okay,
I think he
okay,
found significant savings too, right?
Yes.
We did.
very good. I remember that conversation now.
Any more questions on that slide? Okay, thank you. So recent accomplishments, in June of 2024, we did roll out our point-of-sale payment machine, and on that, it allowed individuals coming in to use a digital wallet. This was a request from customers. We were able to do that for in-house payments. We did implement a new queuing system called QFlow. This, again, allows us to get folks in and out very quickly and efficiently. And we wanted to have translation on our website for those that are speaking different languages. So we work with IT, they brought in UserWay, so folks are able to see their language, multiple different languages out there to translate so they can understand what services or paperwork they need to do and to make appointments to come see us. And we also updated ITAT, rewrote it and did branding on that website, so it was a better user experience, and we added some more security to that website. And then we also had a marketing campaign that we did, and it did increase our transactions by nearly 10%. And I think this is kind of what you were asking me for on online. When we're having people go online and pay, that saves us from having to have people in the windows. And every 13,000 transactions gets rid of one employee. So the more we can get out there, the less that we have to have out in the windows. So it does save us quite a bit by doing those marketing campaigns and getting people to understand it's safe, it's secure, go make your payments and do your registrations online.
Is ITAT Iowa Tax and Tags?
Yes, yes.
So, I'm sorry, I think I asked this before, but I just wanted to clarify in my mind. So it's paying property taxes online, it's title transfers, it's paying for registration. If you buy a boat, it's paying for your boat registration, or camper, right? What else am I missing?
So, no,
No, that's the recorder's office.
so your online is just your registrations and your property tax. So titles you have to do in person. We have to have wet signatures on those. So there's documents that have to be provided to us. You have to turn hard copies over to us, so that can't be done online.
I'd really like to just see the numbers overall on how many of the property tax registrations, online registrations, these titles, because I'm getting confused with all the numbers. Like, if you serve between 1,000 and 1,200 people a day, 5 days a week, that's 313,000 people a year. That's a really impressive number, especially if we only have 500,000. And then that doesn't even include the online, so I'm struggling with figuring out the numbers.
I can provide those for you.
Awesome.
But I think you're adding in online, and we're only talking about what comes into the office. And these are phone calls and people that are actually walking in the office.
Right, no, you told me to take the online out, that you serve between 1,000 and 1,200 people a day in person or on phone calls, not online. So I'm already
Right.
taking that out, all right? That's where
No,
I'm confused on numbers. If it was online, I'd be like, well, everyone has property taxes they have to pay. Well, not necessarily, but for me, to have where your numbers are with everything coming in would be very helpful,
Sure.
to clarify my mind. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions there? So we've also implemented multi-dealer appointments. With those, each dealer has a dealer number, and for those dealers that have multiple appointments or multiple dealer numbers, we set specific times for them to come in each day, so then it would allow the dealers that only have one dealer number to not take up all the appointment spots for them to do their drops. So that's been working out very well. We also added QR codes to the property tax statement stubs to allow folks to quickly scan that code and go to Iowa Tax and Tag and make their payment. And we moved to online for registration and the tax sale. So the complete process is now online, which is a huge staff savings. So we don't have to have staff to go do that. And that's through, what is our place? Govies. I always want to say NeoGov, Govies. And so we also did our property tax statements, and as far as I can know, we've never gotten these things mailed out in the first week of August. So we've gotten close, but never this early, and we are able to, doing this allows us to collect the money a lot faster for Polk County. And so when we got those out this past year, the first week of August, we were able to collect more, 44% over last year, and just that month of August. So it makes a difference of getting these statements out to people and getting them into their hands quickly so that we can collect that revenue. So what we want to do now for near term is we are going to, in the third quarter, do individual accounts for our tax and tags. That's going to be completed third quarter of this year. We are also working with IT on form, and this is Forms Operation Response Management. So this is how we're communicating with the customers through templates and mailings that we have to do. So we want to automate that process to make it a lot faster and simpler and easier for not only our staff, but for customers to understand what they need to do and what they need to turn back to us. Long term, we talked about the reconfiguration. General Services is doing a great job working with us now, so we're starting on that now. There is some stuff that will still be done next budget that has already been stated in the General Services budget. And then we also are looking to do front-end scanning at something. This is my pie in the sky, but as things come through the door, it'd be wonderful to scan it right in so there's never a lost document. You can marry the documents up and make sure that that workflow is consistent throughout the office. And then also implement scanning. So we've been working on this, so get rid of paper and try to get everything from physical to digital. So are there any other questions?
Thank you very much. I think you made a good case for the 5 additional FTEs. We'll have to do some discussion of that, and hopefully the new workflow changes that General Services are helping you with will help you. And again, I think a lot of good questions. I think we're all learning here. So these numbers are important because they represent revenue, but they also represent some of the challenges with turnover and the things you have to face with training and retraining and training and retraining, and there's a cost to all that, and it's a challenge. So
Definitely.
I understand that. So thank you very much.
And Jill and Mark, as soon as you guys can, I want you guys to come down and tour, so it'll make a little bit more sense to you. We can show you a little bit more things in that office. These guys have already been down there, so I invite you down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right, so that concludes our budget series. And so we'll actually meet next Tuesday to begin budget deliberations. And we'll kind of talk through that process at that time. And at this time, I think we're going to go ahead and go into an exempt session of the board today. So, thank you.
Just have a quick question on the budget deliberations.
Yes.
Since Jill and I are new,
Yes.
really what does that look like?
Frank,
2 men enter, 1 person leaves, or?
budget deliberations.
What does a deliberation look like? I mean, because Jill and I haven't experienced it. I've experienced something different through different organizations. I'm just trying to, what will next Tuesday look like?